to talk about the new Garmin Overlander. Before we get started, in full disclosure, Garmin sent us this unit to try out. They did not pay us for this video. And like every product we review, we're going to go through it, tell you a little bit about it, talk about the pros, and talk about the things we didn't like about it, and give you guys a fair assessment of how we feel about it. Okay. The Garmin Overlander is an off-road specific GPS unit built for the Overlander in mind. It's built with a military-grade shock-resistant housing and a 7-inch screen. It weighs just under a pound, has a mil-spec drop rating, an IP5X dust rating, 64 gig internal memory, and a micro SD slot on the side for expansion. It's Android-based, includes a magnetic mount that allows you to run its own suction cup mount, or the ability to run a RAM mount if that's what you like to use. So now that we've kind of looked at the hardware, let's go ahead and take a look at the software features of this unit.
All right, let's talk about the features of the Garmin. Just kind of go through the basic menu here. I'll just show you a couple things. Obviously, the first part you're going to look at is you've got your drive function and your Explorer function. And what your drive function is basically just like your turn-by-turn, like Garmin's always had. You've got your turn-by-turn directions. So it's a real nice map, as you can see here. I've just got kind of a simulation running. But you've got all kinds of options, and you'll see things pop up like this that you can click on. And it'll tell you Oasis Las Vegas Resort. So you can get in there, you can tell it to take you there, or you can bypass it. So I think the thing that most people are going to be interested in, though, is the Explorer side of it. And what that is that's your off-road mapping, basically, your topo mapping or whatever map layer you've got. Garmin has a few map layers loaded into this that you can use. So right now I've got it kind of pointing in Death Valley, but you can see it's a pretty detailed map here. A lot of really good topo lines, a lot of good stuff there, and you can zoom in and out. You can see some of the trails that we've ran with it here, and then zoom in. But you get a lot of really good detail off of this map layer, a lot of maps and stuff off in this area. So that's kind of your two basic map functions of the Garmin Overlander. So if we get out of here, okay, we can kind of see some of the other functions of the unit. Now this has got a lot of different functions on the sides here. So let's just start over here and talk about this from track recorder. So that's where you're going to record your track when you're off-road. What you'll do is come in here, you'll hit start, and it'll essentially just start as you drive or as you walk or whatever you're doing with the unit. It'll start recording your track and building a track file for you that you can save to the Garmin website for later. Download it, send it, share it, stuff like that. Stop is obviously where you stop your, it's just simply stopping whatever you're navigating on at the time. Where to? So this is where you can go in and search. And they've got a lot of really cool stuff preloaded in here. But let's say, I like to just manually do stuff. So we're going to just go to address, and then you can type in house number. And it basically just walks you through the steps of wherever you want to go. And you'll do that, and just keep working down the line. So let's get out of here. Go back to our main screen. Pitch and roll. Okay, pitch and roll is a pretty cool feature. We'll hit calibrate here. So once you've got it mounted in your vehicle, you can hit calibrate. You want to do this on level surface, but you've got basically your side-to-side level and front-to-back level. So let's just say this was mounted on the dash right now and you calibrated it to right there. It's going to show you the tilt of your vehicle. And the thing I really like about it is you can come in here and you can actually turn on warning angles, and you can basically set those angles. Let's say you're comfortable at a pitch angle of 20, and that's as far as you want to go. You can set it to 20 degrees. Let's say roll angle, you're like, I know my truck's pretty safe up to 26 degrees. You can set that roll angle to 26 degrees. And what happens is when the alarms is on, when this unit comes off, let's get back in here so you can see as we move. So let's say we get, see, it's going to flash. And right now I've got it muted, but what it would do, it'd actually give you an audible warning. Besides turning red, it'll give you an audible warning letting you know, hey, you're getting to that angle that you're not comfortable with or your truck's not capable of. So I really like this feature. It's pretty cool. All right, let's get back. We'll come over here to ABC. Click that up, and that's so what this is just basically trip parameters. So when you're recording a track, you can come in here and kind of see your max elevation, current elevation, how much you've climbed, how much you've went down. Give you a compass, your current GPS plot point. So that's just kind of an overview of all your information there. Campgrounds. So this is a feature Garmin has too, you can search for a certain location too, but it'll actually pick up a lot of campgrounds and stuff that are in your area. So you can go here if you're looking for a place to camp. You're rolling down the road and you need a place to camp for the night. This will kind of bring up everything that's in the area, which is pretty convenient. So let's come over here and let's open up the phone function here. So this does allow you to pair a Bluetooth enabled phone to the Garmin and do hands-free talking with it. So it's kind of a neat feature. But I think what most people are going to like, especially if you're running the Garmin equipment, is right here is this Inreach function. Now we've got a lot of guys in our crew that are running the Garmin Inreach SE and a couple guys running the Mini. This allows you to pair that Inreach to the unit and use the Overlander to do all your typing and reading and basically interface. So especially like if you've got the Mini without the, all the buttons and stuff, it allows you to connect to that Mini, and basically this becomes your keyboard. This becomes your interface with that Garmin Inreach. I think that's a super cool feature of this unit. Really nice way that Garmin has tied those units together. So if you come down here on this side here to this funny little button here with the 6 dots, this kind of brings up more basically sub-menus for some of the stuff that's not on the main screen, but you can still get to. A couple things in here, rear view. So Garmin has, and we don't have one hooked up obviously, but Garmin has a compatible compatible camera that you can hook to this. So you could have a front-facing camera or maybe a backup camera and actually use this as your monitor for that. And being Garmin, it all interfaces together, which is really neat. Another cool function in here is vehicle profile. So you can actually come in here and add what kind of vehicle you're driving. So let's just say we've got a motorhome and a trailer. We're pulling a boat trailer. You can set your heights and stuff, your lengths, heights, and all that. And what happens is the Garmin will kind of tell you if you're going down a path that is not recommended for your size vehicle, or if there's height restrictions on a certain road that you're on, it'll actually let you know or route you around those areas, so that you'll get in a situation you don't want to be in. So that's kind of a neat feature here. So we'll back out of that. Right now we've just got it set on Cark, which pretty much covers what we've been doing. Again, on the Explorer side, just a couple more. Like I said, a lot of this stuff, most of this stuff you see on the main screen, but there's just another place you can get more options and more things to do with it. So come down here to tools with some of your settings. So you can set your clock, contacts, where you get into your file manager, stuff like that if you're teching into that kind of stuff. So, and this is also, Garmin is always updating this. So here's a great place you can come in here and it'll actually go out and check for software updates and map updates. And see right now we've got a software update available. So that's a neat thing about the Overlander is Garmin is constantly pumping out updates for it. Just with new functions and just updating the software. So it's nice that they don't sell us a unit and then kind of leave you in the dark with it. Again, this is just an update button there. It kind of takes you to that same screen we were just in. Back out of that, and then last is just kind of your tools. So this is a lot of places you can come in, turn things on and off. Storage and USB, you can kind of adjust the memory where things are going, battery level. Stuff like that. So this is basically all your hardware settings. So that's pretty much it. The Garmin in a nutshell, like everything that it does, just kind of as a quick overview. Obviously, when you get in this thing, play with it, you'll find a lot more detailed things. But I think most people looking at one of these are kind of its main functions and things you're going to play with.
Now that we've taken a look at the software, let's look at some of the pros of this thing, some of the key features that we really, really like about this unit. It's got a great size. It's a little bit smaller than an iPad mini, so it kind of places a little bit smaller. It doesn't take up a lot of real estate on your dash or your windshield if that's where you're mounting it. It's got a real good feel. The rubberized housing makes it feel really nice, makes it easy to handle with a set of gloves out and about. It looks nice. It's a really nice, clean looking unit. The magnetic mount that comes with this unit is really, really handy. I wish a lot more stuff kind of used this setup to mount. It's easy to remove, it's easy to put on. If you're in the truck, you're driving along, you need to get out and look at the map with the other guys in your group, you can grab it, walk out, take a look at it, stick it back on the dash and go. There's no fumbling with brackets or anything like that. I'm really excited that Garmin included and set up provisions to mount a ram ball on the back of the magnetic mount. It makes it super handy. And whether you're using the included suction cup mount or the ram ball option, the magnetic mount allows you to charge the unit through it. So you plug your power cable right into the magnetic mount and all your charging is done. So when you grab that tablet and you remove it, and put it back on, there's no charging cables to mess with. The screen on the Garmin Overlander is amazing. In full sunlight sitting on the dash, you can still easily see it. It's the kind of quality you've come to expect from Garmin. I think one of our crew's favorite features was the ability for the Overlander to connect to the Garmin Inreach. And when you do that, it gives you a keyboard for easy use in texting. So we've talked about some of the things that we really like about the Overlander. Now I want to talk to you about a few things that we think Garmin could really improve to make the Overlander even better. There's a couple things with the suction cup mount provided that I didn't care for. One, I had a really hard time keeping it stuck to my windshield. I'd put it on and it seemed like 20 minutes later that thing would fall off in the floor. The other thing I didn't like was the pivot mount as part of that suction cup. It wasn't stiff enough, and on rocky surfaces, rocky roads, and rocky trails, we noticed that the GPS unit would kind of just continue to tilt down. It needed to be stiffer. The other thing I had a lot of problems with was the voice command. For some reason, it just didn't work with me. I thought maybe it was me and the way I speak, and I had my wife come try the same address I was trying, and it didn't work for her either. It seemed to work about 50% of the time, so I don't know if that's something that Garmin needs to upgrade or smooth out a little bit, but it was something we had a lot of trouble with. I really like the map that comes loaded on the drive side of the GPS. That's where you get a lot of your turn-by-turn stuff. What I didn't care for, and one thing I noticed was, though, it seemed to be missing, that map layer seemed to be missing a lot of the side roads. Like driving up Interstate 95, I noticed a lot of those little BLM roads that go off to either side just weren't there. Now, they're on the other side, the Explorer side, and those map layers, but for some reason they're not on the drive side, so I feel like they could have added a little more detail in that map itself. Speaking of maps, on the Explorer side, they give you the option for 5 different map layers. There's a satellite view in there, a couple topos, and a street view. They're good map layers. They have a lot of details on them, but I feel like they could have had a lot more options or the ability to add other map layers from other sources. I know a lot of hunters out there are going to want the map files that kind of show you where private land and public land is. And the way the Garmin's set up, it doesn't really give you the ability to add those files later or add those map layers later. One of the biggest hiccups that our crew had with this was trying to figure out how to download the map layers. It's not a real easy design. It's not real intuitive to figure out. You've got to kind of get in there and fish around and download pieces here and there. It does give you the ability to kind of select an area and download, but when you select the area, all it'll say, if it's too much area, all it will say is, hey, this file size is too big, but it doesn't give you an idea of how much it's too big or how little it needs to be. So when you do finally shrink it down to a size that it'll download, you download it, and then if you need to get another section, there's no indication of where the existing section is. So you kind of move that box around a little bit, and it's kind of a guessing game. I just think Garmin could have done a lot better job of making it easy to download those map files to the unit. So we want you to tell us in the comments below what you guys use. Do you use the Garmin Overlander, or do you have another platform that you're using? Kind of tell us below what you like, what you don't like, and why you use it. We really appreciate you watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content just like it. Be sure to follow us on social media at Rogue Overland. We'll see you guys on the trail.